that we've actually created. But one of the obvious reasons why we're so involved in this is that due to technology, we really needed to figure out a way, which is exactly what Agents of Discovery has done for these years, is to really figure out a way how to engage youth, and youth of all ages, not just the young kids, but also definitely we're finding that this is very attractive to our teens. And so we wanted to share with you different aspects of what we've been doing. We have some examples that we're going to share with you on really getting the youth to learn by moving and playing and really getting out to nature. Next slide. So with that, another really fortunate opportunity for the City of Los Angeles has been that Agents of Discovery has various cities within Southern California that also have apps. And although the map, you can't really see every single location, there are over 17 different locations that within Southern California. And we thought that the best way to really break the barriers of where the parks are located, because most, I would say, folks that use parks all through, I would say, the entire, park system of the United States and Canada, of course, they really don't know the difference whether it's a city park, a county park, a national park, a neighborhood park. Because in Southern California we're very geographical, and when we realized that there were so many different apps throughout Southern California, we decided to create this map and to really highlight all the different locations so that families, parents, anyone interested could really get the opportunity to experience these different apps in different parks. They go to the U.S. Forest Service. We have City of LA locations. We have County of LA locations. We also have individual cities, like the city of Carson, for example. We have Western National Park, and we also have some historic locations. So we thought that it would be best if we really cross-marketed, and we felt that by really creating this map and having it available at all of the locations, that we all could show that common thread. And of course, the similar message of getting youth, families, kids of all ages, adults, etc., out into nature and really experiencing the unique highlights and attributes and amenities of each of these parks and each of these apps, which was created. So that's really the beginning of how we started this campaign and how we decided to cross-market. I do want to emphasize that it was really exciting to be able to partner with all of these folks in Southern California and be able to share with them. Actually, the conference calling is we created this map together because the map not only highlights or shows each of our locations, but it also identifies each location with the avatar, the different avatar that each of us selected, because that related and complemented the actual location of the park area or the hiking. So that was really very important. And then also it just shows that we are identifying with the importance of making sure that families are really continuing to appreciate nature.
I think I told you the right number.
Technology and with their families.
855.
Next slide. So with that, we did decide to move forward and create different opportunities by going to each of these different locations. a quote here from one of the parents who actually, you can read it yourself, but it's basically, most importantly, I will say, is that not only did they appreciate that they had a personal guide.
Sorry, Vicki. I don't mean to interrupt. I just want to, if everyone could mute their lines that are on the call, it would help everyone else hear Vicki. Sorry for the interruption, Vicki.
That's okay. So I just wanted to say that this particular quote from this parent, she's really enthusiastic about it with her kids, and what she loves about it is not just getting out to nature, but she's also really appreciates the fact that there's historic facts. It's that educational component that makes it so unique on these particular apps. And the exciting thing is that if you work together with perhaps maybe your environmentalists that are on your staff or your recreation professionals, that when you come together as a team, everybody sees things a little bit differently, and that when you create your questions, you get to really get that nice complement of the uniqueness of your trail or your hiking trail. Okay, next slide. So with that, we created these badges. We decided that in Southern California, because we had so many different locations, we decided that we all wanted to be territorial a little bit. We wanted to create our own identity. So again, collectively, via conference calling, we never really sat down face to face, but via conference calling, we literally decided and came up with the concept of creating the badge using our very own avatars that we selected. Again, a very personalized app and identification. And then, of course, we had to put in our location. Now, we didn't put in what cities, we didn't put county or city or regional. What we did is we just named the actual location. So everyone who participates and actually finishes the app gets a badge. If they finish. Only if they finish. Okay. So they can't just start the app. They have to literally go to the very end of the app and answer all the questions, and then they earn a badge. So we decided to do that individually, and then we decided let's challenge the patrons of Southern California and see if they will go to more than one location. And we're finding that's exactly what they're doing. They are like really getting into the excitement of going and using the app, but not just at maybe their local facility, but they're willing to actually drive a little ways, which is sometimes a challenge in Los Angeles. But they're willing to drive a little way, go to the U.S. Forest Service and go to different facilities and try the app and use the app and collect the badges. So we're finding that that seems to be like a self-motivation kind of challenge. We've also involved groups that are doing that, and then we decided after they collected so many badges, then we would challenge them further, and if they could complete all of them, they could get a SoCal Explorer badge. So kind of cool. It's very cool. It's working, and what's great is we are really cross-promoting all of the facilities at the same time. So if one agency, for example,
Norma is joining the meeting.
it doesn't really matter because we're all cross-promoting it. All of the, and we created these printed maps that are located at each of the sites, and that again is a cross-promotion. So it's really very exciting, and we're getting a lot of great feedback. Next slide. So after the next slide, I just want to share with you, we're going to tell you a few stories, but on this particular one, we were fortunate enough to work with a local. They created a free, I say free, PSA for us. It's a 30-second PSA, and it basically, it was part of the junior college film and technology class, visual arts. And this was a project for them to finish, or as a project for them in the class, and they got graded on it. And so we have a relationship with them, and we've asked them to do different kinds of PSAs. And it's just a suggestion that if you're looking for potentially a PSA that could be free, I mean, all of us are challenged sometimes with budgets. The students came up with it, and you'll be able to see the link at a later time because it won't fit within this webinar. But anyways, it's 30 seconds, but it gets the message out. So that was something that we also extended on a campaign, marketing campaign. Okay, Oliver can go to the next slide. And then now we are going to share with you some of the different locations. You will see on the far left, there's Lake Paris, how they went ahead, and you can see how someone is showing somebody else, which is very important, teaching the kids how to get involved. What's also great about this is that the app is that you don't need just one person. You can have a group of kids. You can pair kids together. You can have kids in twos or fours. It doesn't matter. They can get very competitive, who answers what. Even the kids in the group are very competitive. Then we have in the very far right, we have Eaton Canyon launch, which is a very popular area in Pasadena, California, which is a very popular hiking area. And then you'll see Coyote Hills launch, which is in Orange County, and they had a whole class, and the school got very involved in using the app.
Is joining the meeting.
We're very, very involved with this. So there's all different kinds of aspects that you can go. You just don't have to be recreational. You can really get into the science and education. And then Harbor Regional is one of our facilities that we recently opened up. And that was another kind of a launch. You'll see on the slide that it does have the map. That's a copy of our map. And then in the very middle of that slide, Mary was delivering all of the badges to El Pueblo, which is one of our historic sites in the city of Los Angeles. So that's where it says El Pueblo materials drop off. That was just a fun photo to show that all the badges came in boxes and Mary personally delivered them all. So, and El Pueblo is a site where the public is told to go to pick up the majority of the badges, not all the badges. The prizes, excuse me. That is from that aspect. And then we also wanted to share with you on the next slide that we had some events happening within the recreation and park. Specifically at Echo Park Lake, they had an event already planned, and we asked to participate in it and to have a table where you will see a Discovery Agent table. We were showing kids how to actually download and to play, the app. And as you can see on the top right, there's a dad kind of showing his daughter how to actually use the app. What was exciting about this, it wasn't that we actually took them on the whole route of the app, but what we were really doing was promoting that we do have an app at this particular park, which was recently renovated, and it is quite a gathering area now. And now this just adds to the popularity of the park. And so, for example, the dad was like, I'm coming back again because, this is fun. I can do this with my kids. And that's really the messages that we're wanting to hear about. So,
and a quick note about marketing the app as well in the program. Also, this upcoming weekend, we're going to be doing something similar at one of our big winter holiday festivals that we have here in the city of Los Angeles, because we found that really advertising and promoting the app amongst our big events really has been helping as far as a marketing tool, as opposed to doing separate things. You could also do separate things on the side on a smaller scale, but really we found that pairing promoting the Ages of Discovery with our big events really has helped with our marketing of the app itself.
Next slide, Oliver. So going back to the very first slide that you saw, that was Griffith Park, and this was our very first mission that we created, was at Griffith Park. And as you can see, beautiful views, not today, but views of the city. And as you can see on the right slide, we have the Griffith Observatory, which oversees this hiking trail. So it's really a wonderful trail that actually has the app. So this was our very first app that we did. And as I said earlier, it really teaches the, or identifies the different plants, the ecosystem, and some of the history and culture of our Mount Hollywood. So that was our very first one. Again, that was in 2015. These are just some of photos of some of the kids that have actually participated. There have been various groups that have come and used the app. As you can see on the far right, this one actually collected the badge.
So these photos actually currently on the screen, these are some of our teens from our teen club program here that we run throughout the city. And a quick note to speak to these photos. When I first started in with Vicki about with the Ages of Discovery, I was a little concerned how our teens would really respond to Ages of Discovery, only because I had read that it was really geared towards elementary school age kids. And in all honesty, our teens absolutely love the entire program. They love the app. They love doing the missions. They love collecting the badges. They love traveling out together in their teen clubs that we have here in the department. They get very competitive about who's going to answer, the questions the quickest, who's going to get to the top of the trail the quickest, of course, safely. We're not running up the trail, but we're doing it safely. But the teens really absolutely have embraced the program, which then has really shown me that across the board, it really is an app that is maybe in writing, it says it's geared towards elementary school kids, but it really is an app that really works for the entire family. Whether it be the parents or the older siblings or the young children, it really is beneficial for the whole family, and everyone really does seem to embrace it very well and really loves it and has a lot of fun.
Next slide. So another one of our apps is Hamsterdam Recreation Center, and in this particular app, we were very fortunate that it is within a large park, but we have a children's museum that is located at one end of the park. And when we were developing the app and thinking and walking around the brush and the drought-tolerant plants and the different trees, it came to me that why don't we try to connect the app into the Children's Museum? And we were very fortunate that I contacted it's called the Discovery Cube. I contacted the Discovery Cube Museum, and I knew that they had some
Shaylisa is joining the meeting
that were dedicated to drought. Obviously, in Southern California, we are still facing the drought today more than ever, since we have these major, humongous fires going on right now. But the drought has become really prevalent throughout the years, and so when we were creating this app, we decided to focus on education on drought tolerance, water conservation, and to really focus on that. And that's exactly what we did. So this Hamsterdam app, it really addresses how to conserve water at home, at play, at school, and just being outdoors and having fun. And that was really our focus in creating this particular app. And so it was a natural for the Children's Museum because they have 3 dedicated exhibits all about water conservation. And so they embraced us and actually were very happy that we invited them to participate and to be part of our creation of the app. So they have some dedicated questions on the app, and then we created, of course, questions just about in the park and in the, the hiking area. So it all came together. It was very exciting. You will see on the far right, it is pretty drought-tolerant photos over on the right side. We also have a ranger station, a park ranger station there. So we, of course, have the rangers now create and provide hikes so that they use the app. And then on the far left, this was just a photo of the entire group at the dedication and the opening of the actual app. We also incorporated, you'll see a blue, funny-looking, that's really a water drop. It's called Save the Drop. It's Mayor Garcetti's water-saving campaign. That is, again, it's an education and awareness to the entire, city. And we incorporated them and invited them in. Of course, they loved it because they tapped onto our existing program. So we even added in the app just a little website so that more folks could really go, kids as well as parents could go on the web and learn more about saving the drop and creating water conservation methods and learning about them at home, play, school, and in fun. So, anyways, that was a unique opportunity. We really were fortunate that we could seize this opportunity and partnering with the Discovery Cube, which is a private museum on city property. So, next slide. So this is just a quick example. It says Dry California on the very top. This is Hamsterdam's mission. It's great, and it's just kind of a fun way just to show you very quickly how we laid it out, and then some of the drought-tolerant plants that we're identifying in the trees on this particular app. So, again, the whole message is kids, teaching kids how to learn by moving, playing, discovering. This is actually inside the Discovery Cube. They have their own tablets, and what we did is, because the app obviously works outdoors, does not work very well indoors, we actually have QR codes attached to their exhibits at the Discovery Cube so that kids that are actually visiting the museum can just go ahead and play those 3 different apps and answer those challenging questions and those definitions. So this was one of the teachers from Discovery Cube who was very supportive and involved in it, and the kids were just having a great time. So it's another angle of education and science education. Next slide. And then this is just a full picture. You'll see we had Deputy Mayor was involved in this, the councilman, executive director of the Discovery Cube, the LA Teens was a partner. This is a group of school kids that literally able to actually experience the app when we were demonstrating it, and it was a great event, and really one that shows that there's a lot of collaboration can be created and with partners, and also by expanding to, for example, a mayor's campaign or maybe another political campaign, or addressing like water conservation, which is so important in Southern California. So, next slide. And there's Mary at the launch, and a great speech. This also has a link that you can see later that Agents of Discovery can send you, but Mary was definitely on camera, and it played quite a bit on our news channel. And so it was great PR for, not just for Agents of Discovery, but also for the Discovery Cube and for the actual Hamsterdam app. So kudos to our leaders. Again, this is an app at Reseda Park, which is a man-made lake, and this is in a completely different geographical area of the city we focused this one also on water conservation. This is in a local neighborhood, and it really focuses on the birds, really, resident migratory birds that come to the lake within a densely populated, community. So we chose to send the message once again to focus on water conservation for a couple of reasons. One, because this is in our San Fernando Valley, which is very, very hot. Or gets very hot, I should say, in the summer months. And again, it was important to send that message about water conservation. So the other added point on that one is it connects also to our LA River, which the city is very much engaged in promoting and expanding the usage of the LA River. So it was a great tie-in. South LA Wetlands. This one is in South Los Angeles. It is another man-made area that's really a water treatment site, which is kind of interesting that we chose this, but we decided another opportunity for educational purposes to teach the kids and adults about what this water treatment site really is. It was man-made. It does clean over 600,000 gallons of urban runoff on a daily basis, which is pretty remarkable in a densely populated, very low economic area of our city. There is a walking path around there. It was already there, so we felt it was a natural to take this location, create an app, educate the public on not just walking instead of quote-unquote hiking in the hills. This is all flat land, but it already had a walking path, so we just went ahead and focused on water treatment, some of the plants, some of the birds that sometimes come there, because it is clearly in this lower economic area of South LA. So we were really proud that we could bring this to the community. Next slide. And Ed, your turn now to talk about Korea.
Developed, so it was early on in the process, and our challenge here at the aquarium is we're pretty much a distance away from the rest of Los Angeles. Los Angeles has if you look at the city boundaries, it's kind of like a dumbbell, and we're at the bottom end of it. And so when we developed the app down here, we kind of ran into some unique challenges that are unique to this location. One is that we're all about the aquarium focuses on the marine life of Southern California. Vicki already shared the fact about the urban landscape and the urban forest. Well, we have the urban ocean down here. But the challenge we have in interpreting the ocean is most of it's underwater. So there's a unique challenge looking at a sea of blue, what's there, and how do you engage families. So we kind of ran into some challenges in the concept development. We worked through it, and working with the team, it was quite successful. We kind of focused it on habitat in the salt marsh, a native garden, fishing pier, some of the various physical processes that impact the ocean's health. Another challenge that we've kind of focused here is the lack of connectivity. We don't have good cell phone coverage, and we do have a public Wi-Fi, but it is also problematic. So for us to implement this program, we had to purchase tablets and download the program and check them out. So that's what we do. We don't really rely on visitors coming down to download the app. We provide the tablets for our guests to check out and use. And we have a couple different models in our programming on this app. One is kind of modeled after the National Park Junior Naturalist programs. So family groups will go discover it together, and these are informal visitors. They'll come in, and we want to link the beach, which is across the parking lot from our aquarium, so the families will work together. And then we started in the prototype phase, working with the local schools directly to develop age-specific, content-aligned challenges. So it's tied to curriculum. So when the school third grades have different needs of educational standards than a fifth grade, so we're starting to align the program with the schools themselves, so we become a natural extension of their field trips. They come down on their own and take part in content-aligned activities. Now, something that's brand new, so keep your fingers crossed, is we're under consideration from a grant from the state of California Outdoor Education to produce and develop what we call nature play activities. So these are freestanding structures. They are, kind of think of them as a playground, but they're much more. They are tied to nature and the interpretation of nature, but it provides the youth areas for activity to use some of that energy. And there's going to be a couple different layers of them. The first one is for younger audiences, animal adaptations. The second one for older audiences, again, tied to content in the schools, ecosystems. And so in the future, because we didn't get the grant yet, keep your fingers crossed, to then manipulate and change the app to then go with and work together with these structures to give that deeper level understanding and content of protecting our urban ocean. So we're moving it into another area to tie with not just the habitats and the life that's here, but some structural elements that will also have some interactivity, a telescope that looks at the lighthouse, maybe the harbor and all the industry that's here, sounds of the various birds. So maybe they hear a sound on a playground, and then they have to identify it with an image on the app. So this is all up and coming, and it's new for us to take it to that next level. Now, I was able to do a presentation. I work in an aquarium, so I'm involved in the Association of Zoos and Aquariums. And as an industry, we are working on developing programs that do STEM education in our informal science centers. So this app also helps check that box, engaging in the science and the technology portion to do a holistic experience of science. It's not just looking at the animals, but it's also getting deeper into them and how do they work, the technology, as the teachers are starting to use them, as the students are starting to use them. So it's kind of rounding out what we do in our education arena.
Okay, thanks, Ed. We really appreciate that, because that just gives a different perspective. So just to move forward, I just want to share with you the next slide is Eaton Canyon, which launched their mission. One of the things I do want to point out is that on the far left is the person to the right of the ranger with the ranger hat. Actually, she is from the Southern California Edison company who sponsored and paid for all of our maps and the reproduction of that. And so I wanted to just kind of give a shout out to them as we clearly appreciate Edison in doing that. They felt county-wide and Southern California-wide the importance also of this education awareness app all over, and they were very much appreciative and involved in promoting. So they've been one of our partners all along. So I just wanted to make sure that I pointed that out. Eaton Canyon is operated by the U.S. Forest Service. It is in the county of Los Angeles, and a very popular area for hiking. And so they just recently, this year, they launched their app, and it's been very successful. They, of course, are giving away badges often, just like some of our other locations. And it's really not difficult, I don't think, to really replicate what we've been doing in Southern California. It's really been all about collaboration, working together. We're all trying to reach out to all of those youth and families who we need to get them out into nature more often than behind sitting at home indoors. So it's really been quite a great experience. I do want to introduce, if I may, is Megan Cooper on the webinar?
Yes, I'm right here.
I would like to ask you to perhaps share with us what you're doing in North Vancouver.
Sure. So we just recently signed on with the Agents of Discovery to bring the app into our marquee park, which is Lynn Canyon Park. So it is our largest park in North Vancouver. It's definitely not as large as some of the parks in LA, so it's about 617 acres, but it attracts millions of visitors a year, so especially in the summer, which is our peak season. So if anyone is coming to Vancouver or coming to the North Shore, you can almost guarantee that they're going to end up in Lynn Canyon Park at some point. And it's just a great representation of a coastal rainforest ecosystem and a good representation of a coastal western hemlock forest. So we have a large suspension bridge that goes over the canyon. So that's also a big attractant to the park. And what we have been planning to do, we do have an ecology center at the park. So we're kind of wanting to use this app to pair it with our ecology center. So at the center we have nature programs and a lot of activities that kids can do to learn about nature within the park. But we don't really have anything that's app-based. So we are kind of trying to make that switch and just to stay up to date and to be current with the way technology is going. So we thought it would be a great thing to do to keep children engaged while they're walking through the park with their parents. And our plan is to have 2 missions within our park. So one of them would be for them to get a junior park ranger badge, and the other would be for them to have a junior ecologist badge. So in one aspect, they'd be learning about nature within the park, the different trees, the different wildlife, and how the river system works. And then on the other hand, they would be learning about park safety, because it is very much, those of you who are familiar with North Vancouver, we're fairly unique in that we have a very large interface with an alpine natural parkland, and we're right on the edge of the North Shore Mountains. So it can be quite wild out there. So we want to have a big safety component to our app and just educate people that are using it, that to always be prepared and have the 10 essentials for hiking and ample water and sturdy footwear and that sort of thing. And also just to be aware of some of the some things that we don't want to be doing within our parks as well, but have it done using all positive messaging. So that's pretty much where we're at right now. We're just kind of figuring out, I was actually out there today picking up some challenges and marking some waypoints. So we're right in the development stages with that.
That's great, Megan. Thank you. That's very exciting. I actually have been to North Vancouver, and it is beautiful. And I did make my way to several of the parks. One of the great things to hear from you is that you're taking the app into a different area. Is that like you're offering 2 different kinds of badges, 2 different kinds of apps And education and safety is so important that we do need to send that message more often than not about the behavior in many of our parks, national parks or Forest Service parks, or even local urban parks. So I think that's really important. The great thing is that we can all have, like as I think I mentioned earlier, is that we all have unique amenities and unique characteristics at each of our parks. And the great thing is, when you create the trail and you create the actual route and the questions, we can take that uniqueness and make it special just for our own, personalize it to the habitat of that particular location. So thanks, Megan. Really appreciate you sharing that with us.
No problem. Thank you.
Our latest launch, which is at 10 Malloy Harbor Regional Park. This park has been recently remade. Millions and millions of dollars. I can't remember if it's over 80 million that has been spent on actually recreating the park. Taking care of the lake, draining the lake, and repurposing the lake, putting in a filtration system, and then adding the amenities of like fitness equipment and fishing piers. But the app is actually the one that teaches everybody about the entire park and all of its new amenities. So it's another great way to market the development of a new park, how the water treatment has been developed from this park, and it has actually transformed the entire community.
Is leaving the meeting.
Next dollar. So this just shares a little bit about what we wanted to accomplish at this particular site, and that was to really talk about the water flow and the advantage of, even though they're man-made lakes, but again, about the ecology and the water conservation and the habitat.
So this next slide is about the Mission Maker, which basically is a tool that we use in order to make the different missions within the app. A quick note about the Mission Maker. I am honestly a person who is not great with technology, not so great with computers. I was a little overwhelmed when I first started out and took a look at this Mission Maker, and in all honesty, it couldn't be easier to use. It is so user-friendly, so easy to use, so easy to follow along, simple, easy steps. It really, truly has made, making missions and changing missions and updating missions really easy, and not only easy, but also fun. First, it says here, make your own reality game. So you really are given the option to really create what you want, to really create the type of mission you want based on the location that you're at, based on the ecology, based on the park site. You could really, make it exactly what you want it to be. The next is that it says you can access here pre-packaged challenges. So there are a list of challenges that you can go in and choose from if maybe starting out, if you're a little weary of what type of questions to put together, or you're just learning the system, or you're not really sure what you want to do. You could also plug in these pre-packaged challenges, which make it really easy. And then you have preset questions and answers, and you can plug those right in and set something up really quickly. But what's also great about all of this is that once you create these questions within each mission, whether it be your own questions that you created or the pre-packaged questions or challenges, you're very easily able to go in, make changes. You could take out the question completely, add in a new question. You can make changes with it.
Steven.
Is leaving the meeting.
I've found that once we create our questions, we will go and we will complete the missions with kids, with the families, and then after getting feedback, especially from the teen teams that we work with, we're able to see really what works for us, what works for that location, and maybe there's a different way or a better way of wording a question or something that's going to be more understandable for the kids. And I'm very easily able to go in and change things very quickly. And then also a quick note too, as I said earlier, because I'm quite opposite of a technology-based type person, if there is ever a question within the Mission Maker, something that I don't know, maybe it's because it's the first time that I've done it, just recently,
Allie, my team is leaving the meeting.
and speak with them, and they're able to walk me through step by step. Extremely helpful. I just went in the other day, changed the avatars for our locations. They also have, the Agents of Discovery folks have provided us with some really cute and fun holiday avatars, so I was able to easily go in and change those. And so again, the Mission Maker, it's really where all of the inside internal work is going to be done, but it is very, very easy to use. It's very user-friendly. And I know the last 2 points on here are really evaluating the performance as far as statistics goes, and the rewards for the players, which are the badges and the prizes. And I know the Agents of Discovery folks are going to speak on that point in a little bit.
Hi there. Okay, well, I think, Vicki, you guys did such a fantastic job of explaining the program, and that overview of the Mission Maker was amazing. I think that really, we are simply trying to provide you all with a tool that you can use to create your own place-based augmented reality games. Why? Because this is how you can engage with kids and their families and make sure that they learn what it is that's important for you, for them to learn at that location, and very importantly, that you can know that they are safe. That you are going to carefully have safety messages, and you're going to place all of your challenges in locations where you know that your players will be safe, and that is so important. I think with Harry Potter Go now coming out in just a few months' time, it's going to be 10 to 100 times bigger than Pokemon Go. I think it's so important that those of us that really want kids to get outside and have fun can have a tool to create their own place-based games. So I think we'll just sort of walk through these, and I think we should take questions, because I'm sure a lot of you want to ask Vicki questions about what the City of LA is doing. And so why don't you go ahead and just jump in and ask questions. And we'll just sort of play through these slides. We might want to mention here, once you can, Vicki, I know you wanted me to mention you can create missions in Spanish, French, or English. There's text-to-speech for visually impaired users, and there's also, once you have your mission downloaded into your phone, you don't need Wi-Fi or data connection to play. So Ed was mentioning, if users have the Cabrillo mission downloaded before they come down to Cabrillo, they're going to be fine. So that's the thing to understand.
Add something to Mary, if I may, is that we found, especially with Jeran taking the teams out to several of the sites and using the app, is that we decided to actually purchase some tablets and download all 7 of our apps on the tablets, and so that the tablets are there with the teams, and then they can share the tablets, and we're finding that that's really very helpful for taking, organized groups out. We've even had some Girl Scouts who've asked to use the tablets, and some of our ranger stations that were able to check out some of the tablets. So that's another form of marketing and having it accessible, because sometimes we're finding that parents who are learning about the app for the first time, or kids, they want to hurry up and do it. They don't want to wait, So we're finding that that's also. So we did invest some money into purchasing some tablets.
Great, and thanks, Vicki, for that. And this is just a quick screenshot showing you that you get to collect your own analytics. So you can see about how many downloads you've had, what your users are doing, This is the back end where you can control for yourself your data. You don't have to come to us to ask how far people have walked or how many users you've got. You can check those out on your own dashboard. And then rewards, Vicki's gone into that very nicely. You can have in-game rewards. And then here's a nice, we've got a SoCal enthusiast that's been collecting the badges. So they've got the real world badges, and that's a great combination, in-game and real world rewards. We know from evidence-based research is a very, very effective formula for motivating changes in behavior. So I think this says it all, our hands-on learning experiences that immerse kids. This is some coverage that we've had of the SoCal Explorer. We were featured in LA Parent magazine as a cool thing to do. There's been all kinds of media coverage. And this is the ABC. There's a great news story we launched on the National Mall at the Jefferson Memorial 3 weeks ago. You'll be able to view later the great coverage ABC Television gave us of that wonderful launch. So Councilmember Blumenfeld has been one of our big cheerleaders, and so this is kind of a nice summary shot for you.
Thanks, Marianne. This is Oliver from Agents of Discovery. We just had a question come in and from A. Parna. And we were just hoping that someone could speak to the devices a little bit more. They're asking about partnerships and maybe ways that these devices could be made available through partnerships with different organizations, it sounds like.
Are you referring to the tablets as the devices?
Yeah.
That's right.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
Oh,
well, the game will play on any Android tablet or iOS device. If you wanted to purchase tablets, we could certainly give you some help with making some recommendations on that. But when you publish your mission, it goes into the Play Store and the App Store and is picked up by any iOS or Android device.
Got it. I guess I was curious about the strategy. Is joining the meeting. Tablets that you actually are dealing with the hardware versus the uptake for just distributing the software and the app.
Yeah, no, as soon as you publish your mission from your dashboard, your computer, it instantly publishes into the Play Store and App Store, and any iOS or Android device can then use it.
And anybody can download it, and it's free. That's also a huge marketing component that no one has.
Stacy Deeble Reynolds
is leaving the meeting.
Yeah, and sorry, this is Oliver again. I just wanted to jump in and say that we have weekly demos on Tuesdays at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, for you to join and just see how easy it is to create your mission and see it published instantly to Google Play and the App Store through Agents of Discovery's Mission Maker.
Okay, and the cost, this is a SaaS model, which means software as a service. You can purchase a license. All of the prices are available. The lowest price for a very basic for 1 year is $1,600, up to a more deluxe package, depending on whether you want customized, maps and avatars and so on.